Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Board of Education meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, Board of Education's meeting will be conducted in two parts. The first part is the reorganization meeting, and the second part is the regular business meeting. At this time, I would like to introduce to the podium Ms. Marianne Sadowski, a district attorney, to administer the two oaths of office, one to myself and one to the newly elected Board of Education members. I, Francesco Ianni, solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of Superintendent of Schools
the duties of Superintendent of Schools
of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School
of
District
the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability. Thank you. Nancy Castro Giovanni.
Raise your right hand. I, Nancy Castro Giovanni,
I, Nancy Castro Giovanni,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of trustee of the Board of Education
the duties of trustee of the Board of Education
of the Oyster Bay Central School District
of the Oyster Bay Central School District
to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
I, Marianne Santos,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the State of New York,
and the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of trustee of Board of Education
of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District
of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District
to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Ms. Sadowski, and congratulations again to Ms. Castro Giovanni and Ms. Santos. At this time, we will have the election for President and Vice President of the Board of Education. President, may I have a nomination for Board President?
I nominate Lori Kowalski as president.
May I have a second to the nomination?
Second.
It is my pleasure to declare that Ms. Kowalski has been elected as Board President. Now we have Ms. Sadowski administer the oath of office to the President. I'm sorry? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all in favor. Okay, all in favor. Congratulations.
I, Lori Kowalski.
I, Lori Kowalski,
Do solemnly
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
President of the Board of Education
President of the Board of Education
of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District
of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District,
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Vice President, may I have a nomination for Board Vice President?
I nominate Nancy Castro Giovanni.
May I have a second to the nomination?
Second.
It is my pleasure to declare that, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm glad you're doing this job. I'm not doing well on that one. It is my pleasure to declare that Ms. Castro Giovanni has been elected as Board Vice President. Now we have Ms. Sadowski administer the oath of office to the Vice President.
Yep, I'm ready.
I, Nancy Castro Giovanni,
I, Nancy Castro Giovanni,
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Vice President of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District, according to the best of my abilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Ms. Kowalski and Ms. Castrogiovanni, and Ms. Kowalski, I'll gladly give the meeting to you now.
Okay, thank you. Now let's move on to approval of appointment of officers. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the appointment of officers as listed in their entirety. At this point, I'm going to ask Ms. Sadowski to administer the oath of office to the acting district clerk. So we have to, okay. Do I have a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries. And now Ms. Sadowski can administer the oath of office to the acting district clerk. Okay, now can we administer the oath of office to the district treasurer? Okay, let's move on to approval of other appointments. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the following appointments as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Moved. Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Move on to approval of designations. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the following designations as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now that ends the reorganization meeting. And now we'll move on to the agenda for the 7/12/2022 business meeting. I'll call the meeting to order. And let's start with, we've done the pledge already. Do we have to do the pledge? No, okay. I would appreciate it. Okay. Comments and reports from the Board of Education and correspondence. Ms. Santos? None?
An email from Jennifer Perpee regarding Ms. Roselle. An email from Cheryl Hall reflecting on the Oyster Bay High School community.
Thank you, Ms. Santos. And now we can move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Yanni?
Thank you. Just quick things, the moving up ceremonies, second grade moving up and the sixth grade moving up were great. The graduation we had a beautiful day. So again, congratulations to all the seniors. I want to wish everybody listening, community, a very wonderful summer. Hopefully they get rest and enjoy family and friends. We've been doing a lot of work, and we're going to update the community at the next meeting regarding the bond. Has started already, so you could see a lot of work done at the high school. So very excited about that. And I know that tonight the board will hopefully vote on a recommendation that we have that I made to the board So we have a couple of teachers. We have Megan Wiggenhausen as an elementary teacher. So I'm going to wait on the congratulations once the board will vote. Holly Roselle, also elementary teacher at TR. And these are students, these are teachers that have been with us in a sub-capacity or permanent position, substitute position for a while. And we have also Danielle Najjar, also as a computer science and technology teacher at the high school. So welcome. This is a wonderful place. We wish many, many years of success, and we have the best students that you can ask for. So very exciting. And that's it. I want to wish everybody a great summer.
Okay, thank you,
Okay.
Dr. Yanni. Let's move on to open the public hearings for the school district code of conduct and district-wide safety plan. Ms. Rayner?
Thank you. This evening, we're going to have two public hearings, as Ms. Kwasi said, for the school district code of conduct and the district-wide safety plan. Starting with the school district code of conduct, the code of conduct was posted with the highlights of the changes on the board policy, on the board docs. It is policy number 7310. The changes have been reviewed and suggested by the policy committee. They are highlighted with the strikeouts and the new changes. This evening, once we conclude the hearing, there is a recommendation for the Board of Education to adopt it at this evening's board meeting. So at this point, I'd like to open up the public hearing for any questions or comments from the public or board.
Any questions from the board?
No.
Okay, seeing none, we're going to move into the public hearing on the district-wide safety plan. So before I discuss the plan, I do want to provide an update on the safety committee, which met on June 15th most recently. We've provided some updates throughout the year. This one concluded with welcoming our new police officer, Adam Meyer, who's the new Nassau County Homeland Security Liaison. He joined us earlier in the spring, but officially joined our committee this June. During this meeting, our team was provided a draft of the district-wide safety plan. And as always, I'd like to thank Mr. Peter LaDuca and his team over at Nassau BOCES Health and Safety. They've provided a lot of resources and guidance for our districts when we go through our district-level plans and our building-level plans. So that information was reviewed. I'll go in a little bit more detail on the plans in just a moment, but there was members of the board there as well, so I will turn over to Mr. Cronin in just a second. But one of the big things that came out of the safety committee meetings that we discussed this year was a joint meeting that was held in June, where Mr. Cronin and myself both attended with the Nassau County Police Department Commissioner as well as the Nassau BOCES. They really talked about increase of staffing and uniformed officers that are present in and around our schools. They discussed the partnership between the schools and continued to encourage the training for our safety teams for next year. Mr. Cronin, if you want to add any other specifics?
Thank you, Ms. Reyna. The only thing we talked about was the training to give our security guards and to teachers and everybody. And the way we train is the way we have to act. So the way we train is the way we have to do it. That was brought up. And a lot of it has to do with security reasons, like making sure the doors are closed. That seemed to be a very big issue around the country, is leaving doors open. We have the security vestibules, so we make sure we have to keep the doors closed. And for me, I know I was involved in a lot of the school trainings, being in the police department for 28 years. Things have changed. So now they're going to see where a single officer will enter a school instead of 3 or 4. So that's a big difference for the district. So the first officer there now is going right in. They're going to be prepared. They're going to be trained. When I trained for it, it was like 3 or 4 we went in at a time. Now it's going to be a single person, single officer actually. So that was one of the bigger changes that's going around right now. There's a lot of other things we talked about. I'm sure we can bring it up, during the year. But the biggest thing was the training and keeping doors closed and a single officer entry.
Great, thank you so much.
Ms. Rain, I have a question. So years ago, we invested in the door ajar system. Do we still monitor that, and who's responsible for monitoring that?
So that system is currently being looked at as many districts are moving forward with a cloud-based camera system, which is a little bit more secure, provides us more ability to get it on the phones and iPads and other devices. So we are looking at moving away from the current camera system, moving over. So the door jar system is part of the camera system. So that monitoring is taking place currently through the old system, but hopefully by September, I think we talked at the last safety committee, we're evaluating it, and I know our tech team was working with our interim head of security, Lou, and they're evaluating the new system. So yes, as well as adding the lockdown buttons and blue strobe lights on the outside of the building. So we do have it everywhere, but we are continuing every year to look at it and provide more coverage.
And Mr. Cronin, just one question. Is there a reason for one police officer versus 4 to come in?
I think it's the early entry to get in, not wait. So I think the faster we can get it, the faster the officer can get in and try to confront what's going on, it's a lot faster than waiting for more officers to get there. So that's what they're training on right now. Everybody's going to be equipped with, I believe it was a helmet and a heavy vest, correct, Ms. Rayner?
Correct.
In each car. So that's some of the equipment that they didn't have before. This is something they're getting now, and they'll be able to go right in. They're not going to wait anymore.
So in taking that information back, Mr. Cronin and I did share that with the safety committee, and one of the things that came out of our meeting as we reviewed the draft plan for the 22-23 school year is that we have a very strong plan. Our plan is in place. It has a lot of good details. We've been using the resources of our Nassau County Homeland Security as well as BOCES, and that the focus of the committee for next year, the work that we do, is really increasing the communication of the plan, especially as staff changes over the years, getting the communication and updates of the plan out, and also putting those practices and the trainings back in place. So that is what the committee will be working on next year. But more specifically about the plans, I do just want to remind everybody that only the district level plan is available to the public. That has very high level district information. The more building level specific information are confidential and are only shared with those on the building level crisis teams. So those will not be made to the public. However, all plans will be approved by the Board of Education at the August meeting and sent to the state by October 1st. There's a standardized format that it is submitted to the state with, which gives the police officers the ability to get into the plans in a uniform manner to get access to our information. So after tonight's hearing, the plan will be posted where it was posted last night in Board Docs, but also to our district webpage under the Parents and Students tab, Safety and Security. Right now, you'll see the 21-22 plan there. As of tomorrow, you'll see the new draft for the 22-23 plan. It is available for public comment for a minimum of 30 days, at which time it will be recommended to the board at the August 25th Board of Education meeting prior to the submission to the state. So at this time, if there's any other questions, if not, that concludes my portion.
Okay, thank you. So do I need a motion to close the public hearing, or do we just close it?
Motion
do?
to close.
Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, let's move on to the approval of minutes.
Put down.
Motion to approve the minutes as listed and attached below. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Public participation, is there anyone who signed in? No? Okay. So let's move on to instructional personnel items. Approval of instructional personnel items resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. The Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the instructional personnel items as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Congratulations.
Any abstentions?
I'll abstain from 8.03 and 8.06.
Okay, motion carries.
Congratulations.
Let's move on to non-instructional personnel items. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the non-instructional personnel items as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Let's move on to special services. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the special services resolution as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. New business. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the new business resolutions as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I assume there's no public participation on non-agenda items either? Okay. So let's have a motion to close the meeting. Do I have a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Congratulations.